how much of the Mueller investigation and the things that we are learning so far about Donald Trump, specifically about the campaign finance violations, since you're on the Oversight Committee, do you plan on investigating, and how aggressively?
Well, obviously, this is going to be a shared responsibility with other committees, Intelligence, Judiciary, and Oversight. It's impossible to say how much we're going to do and when, so long as the Mueller report is still not out, and obviously there are other shoes to fall here. I will say this, Katie, Friday's filings by both the special prosecutor and the Southern District of New York frankly move us into flashing red territory for Donald Trump. We can't ignore the fact that the Department of Justice, through two different prosecutors, said that individual one, President Trump, coordinated and directed an illegal activity.
And when you say that, you mean the campaign finance violation?
That's right. That's right. And that doesn't even
go ahead.
That doesn't even address obstruction of justice or collusion.
No,
but now we have a crime for which Mr. Cohen will be sentenced that was directed and coordinated by individual one.
Do you believe that's an impeachable offense?
Absolutely. Whether we in fact proceed to impeachment is a different matter. That's a political question. But it seems to me that all of us have to understand the gravity of what happened Friday. We take an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And therefore, we have a sacred obligation to the country to respect the process of impeachment and use it very sparingly and very judiciously. But when we're faced with the kind of evidence we got Friday, I think we have to start to really look at that question more seriously than in the past.
Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Beat the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.